My name is Adam Briel, and I live in the suburbs of Chicago in a place called Aurora, Illinois, and you're in my basement right now, or what I like to call my home office, even though really my office is pretty much in my car all the time. But the purpose of this video is to hopefully give you a little idea of what I'm like and my passions, and kind of help you know me a little better. So I want to start out by saying music has always been a really big part of my life. I can remember when I was really little, like I'm talking like first and second grade, just sitting in my room in the middle of nowhere, because I'm actually from a small country town, and I was on a farm. And once you get to know me, you're going to know I'm not so much the farmer. Not that there's anything wrong with farmers. We need farmers. Farmers are awesome. This guy, not so much a farmer. I'm more of a city kid who isn't really from the city. You know, kind of that way. So, I remember sitting in my room just listening to Elvis and Michael Jackson, Queen, Prince, George Michael, just thinking, this is amazing. It's really impacting me, this music. I need to do music. In my life, I need to do music. And so fast forward on till about 8th grade, I'm at a garage sale, I see a drum kit. Oh, I'm going to play drums, I'm going to start a band, I'm going to take over the world! Well, I didn't take over the world. But all throughout high school, all that, I've been playing in bands. They were terrible. I realize that looking back now. We just weren't really that good. So then I moved to where I live now, Aurora, right after high school. I needed to get out of the small town, get into the big city. Spent a lot of time in Chicago, went to Columbia College for music business management. I started playing everything, and I was able to get into these bands, and I had a great amount of success. Been on the radio, TV, played with national headliners. I've played with Grammy Award winners and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. And you would think that all that would have really made me content and been happy that I made it. But I wasn't at all. And I didn't really truly understand what happiness was, even after being married, until I found Jesus. Then everything kind of turned around. And I was put into this worship band and started to understand what worship was, and that I could use my gifts for what is really important, and that is worshiping God. And other than music, I'm really into movies. I have a huge collection of movies, and you know, my daughters too, they love to watch movies with me. But my favorite movie of all time is School of Rock. And in School of Rock, there's this quote, and I remember him saying this to his students over and over again. It's not really a spoiler if you haven't seen School of Rock, but it says, one great rock show can change the world. Now, I believe that. Maybe not so much change the world in that instance, but it can definitely change your day. And in a worship setting, seeing what truly can change the world and change your day, with the Holy Spirit, I can help facilitate change in people's life through worship. And even though it's one day that this can change somebody, you know, in the short term, that builds up over the course of years or months or whatever it is in a worship setting at church. If you're singing to someone who's just showing up because maybe they're a kid and their parents make them go, or the one of the spouses doesn't really want to go but the other one is and brings them along. But over the course of coming to church over and over again, whether they want to or not, you could change them through song, because singing kind of changes what you are. Singing helps take you away, it helps you remove you from the distractions of everyday life, and it helps you encounter the Spirit. And I feel like, just like building a house brick by brick, day by day, it can really help you and bring you closer to the Lord, and eventually, hopefully, get somebody who wasn't there to that point where they give themselves to Jesus. Over the past 3.5 years, I've been working at this church at the Crossroads, and I have been the music director, worship leader for the youth ministry. So what I do is I have a band full of students from 5th grade to, some of them have been in college, but most of the time through high school. And we work together to put together the worship set, play everything, no tracks, no clicks, no nothing. We build it organically from the ground up. And I find it to be so satisfying, because even though sometimes we have our little clams on the guitar, or mistakes here and there, or forget something, or just nerves, because a lot of these kids, they're in front of their peers, they're in front of a couple hundred peers, and they're nervous up there. But to see them play and worship and do something so great really warms my heart, because when worship is good with these kids, it is awesome to see this couple hundred students lifting their hands and singing along or doing hand motions. It is something to see, and I find it so satisfying. And we work hard on this, and I have meetings with them usually once a month, the worship team and the tech team, because the tech team is just as much part of the worship experience as the people on stage leading the congregation, because they're changing the slides so that the kids know what to sing. You know, they have the words up there, they're controlling the lights and kind of the atmosphere of what's going on there. And you know, if they mess up, like, or they don't switch a slide on time, and then the people don't sing in the time, it kind of throws everything off. So they're just as important as we are, and I preach that to them. And we always go over, for every meeting, Colossians 3:23 through 24. And all the work you are doing, do the best you can. Work as if you were doing it for the Lord, not for people. You are serving the Lord Christ. And I remember in my ministry things changing for the better, because when I came in there, worship was not great. Like, the students weren't really into it. They weren't worshiping, they weren't singing, they weren't really doing anything. They're just kind of standing there like zombies. And I met with who was in charge at that time, the family pastors and all that, and they're like, well, you have to do what the kids want, you have to do this, you know, like, this is, the kids want to hear this, or the kids want to do this, and the students, so they were working for the students. And finally, after a while, I said to myself, Lord, I'm not doing this for them, I'm doing this for you. I'm going to worship you, and I'm going to model what worship looks like to my students. And when I do that, then they'll see hopefully they'll see real worship and how that's going. So that's what I started to do. I just started worshiping with all my heart, letting the students see that, and it has started to grow, and the worship has gotten better, and the kids started to get more engaged, and they started to sing, and they were buying in, and it was so great to see that now I can let a lot of students, I don't even have to be on stage, I'll let the students lead, because once a month I go into the main service for the adults, and I lead in there, and then I leave a team of my students to lead worship, and it's just as good, because the kids are familiar with these people that are on stage. They are brought into worship, and they are singing, and they are worshiping, and it is amazing to see. And all the earth will shine your praise. lastly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of my passions, and that is having worship nights. I love putting together a night of worship for all ages to come to and listen to and worship. And I'm actually in a band called Chasing Rain, and we write original faith-based music, we write worship songs, and we travel throughout the country playing worship nights at different churches, different denominations, and it's really cool going out and seeing these different churches and the way they do things and the worshipers there. And I just find that it's very important within a church setting to have a worship night here and there, because it really focuses you in on that specific act of worshiping and praising God, because I feel like too many times during the day-to-day of services that some of the people start to think it's just we're going to sing some songs and then hear the message, when there should be importance in worshiping as well. So I'm going to end this video with kind of snippets of acoustic worship night that me and Chasing Rain put on. But it was good talking to you, and hopefully you know a little bit more about me. Thanks. Tasted and seen the sweetest of love.